So let's go ahead and take a closer look at this constructor. Right? It's called init because it stands for initialize, and initialize means to create a variable and set it to its first value. Right? And that's what this method is doing. And that's another thing. This def keyword is used to create function definitions. Right? But when we have a function definition inside of a class, we call them methods. So this here is a method, right? And this is a special method, and it's called the constructor. And why is it called the constructor? Because it constructs or builds the object. All right? And you want to remember, objects are sets of variables. All right. So the story starts down in main. Right, right on line 75, right side of the equal sign, it's saying this is a command to go to class character, run the constructor, give it these arguments. Okay, so it's going to jump up to the class character, it's going to run this constructor right here. These guys are going to be equal to the arguments that are passed to the constructor down in main. What is self? Self is the object that is being created. Okay. And what is an object? It's a set of variables. And visually speaking, we can think of an object as being of variables as being cups, right? So then we can imagine self, the object, being a cup holder. So imagine you're at McDonald's, they give you that cup holder that has 4 slots, right? Right here, when we first run the constructor, right here, the cup holder is empty. Because self here is the object that is being created, that has not yet been created. Right? It's not until we get to line 10 that we actually put a variable in the cup. The variable is name, and we're putting him in the cup. We're setting it equal to a init name, which is equal to Daniel. So this cup holder now, after line 10, has one variable in it. It's called name, and it's equal to Daniel. Then after line 11, it has 2 variables in it. It has a health variable in the cup holder, and it's equal to 100. Right? And we keep going. By the end, after line 14, the object, the cup holder, has 5 variables in it, and they're all equal to the arguments that were passed in from main downstairs. Okay. Now, what happens here at the end is happens automatically, and you don't have to write it down. But it's a return self. And what does return do? Well, same thing in that it does for a function definition. Return returns to where the function definition was called. Not only that, but it replaces the function call with the return value. So here on line 15, same thing. Return returns to where the method was called, and it replaces the method call with the return value. And what is the return value here? It is self. Now on line 9, self was the object that is being created, right? It's like an empty cup holder. By the time we get to line 15, self is now the object that has been completely created, right? It is an object, it is a cup holder that contains a set of variables. These variables here. So what are we returning? We are returning the cup holder that is now full of variables that contain values. Okay, so this return, I'm going to delete it now because it's automatic, returns to where the constructor was called. And where was the constructor called? It was down here in main, right here on the right side of the equal sign. So that call to the constructor gets replaced with self, the object that was created. Okay. And now the equal sign kicks into play. What does the equal sign do? It takes the right side of the equal sign and saves it into the variable on the left side of the equal sign. So Daniel variable is equal to the object that was created upstairs when we called the constructor. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I guess we could stop there. Why don't you go ahead and code that in your program? And we can go ahead and talk about how we can manipulate this object in the next video.